It was just after midnight on Thursday, April 16, 2026. On Guinevere Drive in Annandale, Virginia, a quiet, tree-lined suburb just outside Washington, D.C., a teenage boy picked up his phone with shaking hands and dialed 911. He told the dispatcher his mother was bleeding. He didn't know where his father was. When police arrived minutes later, they found two bodies inside the house. Dr. Cerina Wanzer Fairfax, a dentist, a mother, a woman who loved trail running and traveling with her family, was dead in the basement. She had been shot multiple times. Justin Fairfax, once the second most powerful elected official in the state of Virginia, was found upstairs in the primary bedroom, dead from a single self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
Firearm with him, self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head.
To understand the events of that April night, you have to understand who Justin Fairfax was and who he was supposed to become. He was born in 1979, the grandson of civil rights activists. He grew up in New York City and went on to study at Duke University, where he met a young woman named Cerina Wanzer. They would later marry. Together, they built what appeared to be a picture-perfect American family: 2 children, a dental practice, a home in the suburbs. Justin went on to Columbia Law School. He became a federal prosecutor, working in the Eastern District of Virginia, building a reputation as sharp, disciplined, and driven. He had a gift for speaking. He had presence. People noticed. In 2013, he made his first run for office, the Democratic nomination for Virginia Attorney General. He lost. But in politics, sometimes losing teaches you everything. 4 years later, in 2017, Justin Fairfax ran for Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. He won. At 38 years old, he was sworn in as Virginia's 41st Lieutenant Governor in January 2018, becoming only the second African-American ever elected to statewide office in the Commonwealth. He stood at that podium on Inauguration Day, with his wife beside him and his children in the crowd. By every measure, he was on his way. People whispered about him in Washington circles. Some even said, quietly, that he had what it took to go all the way, perhaps to the White House itself. A friend would later describe him as a guy full of hope and promise and gifts and possibilities for his future. That was 2018. Everything was about to change.
Worked with Justin. He was an enormous talent, and I just can't imagine what his family's going through.
The year 2019 began as one of the most turbulent in modern Virginia political history. Governor Ralph Northam was engulfed in a scandal after a racist photograph surfaced from his medical school yearbook. Calls for his resignation were coming from both sides of the aisle. In that vacuum, Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax was suddenly positioned to ascend, to become governor of Virginia by default. He never got the chance. On February 6, 2019, a conservative political website published an allegation that had been swirling in political circles for 2 years. A woman named Dr. Vanessa Tyson, an associate professor at Scripps College and a fellow at Stanford University, alleged that at the 2004 Democratic National Convention in Boston, Justin Fairfax had forced her to perform oral sex on him in a hotel room. Dr. Tyson said she had suppressed the memory for years, only beginning to tell close friends about it in October 2017, when she saw a photo of Fairfax while he was running for lieutenant governor. She had actually approached the Washington Post with her story after his 2017 election, but the paper declined to run it at the time, saying it could not find corroboration. Now it was out. 2 days later, February 8th, a second woman came forward. Meredith Watson alleged that Justin Fairfax had raped her in a premeditated and aggressive attack in 2000, when both of them were undergraduate students at Duke University, the same university where he had met his future wife. Virginia politics was in freefall. Fairfax denied everything. He called both accusations false and defamatory. He said the encounter with Dr. Tyson was consensual. He denied the allegation from Meredith Watson entirely. He hired the same legal team that had represented Brett Kavanaugh. He submitted to 2 separate polygraph examinations and claimed to have passed both. He called for full criminal investigations. But the political damage was done. Calls for his resignation poured in, including from members of his own party. 4 of his staffers quit. He was asked to step down from the board at Duke's Sanford School of Public Policy. His law firm, Morrison & Forster, where he had made partner just months earlier, accepted his resignation in July 2019. He was never criminally charged, but in the words of a friend who had known him for years, Justin Fairfax was never the same man again.
Justin Fairfax finished his term as Lieutenant Governor and left office in January 2022. He had spent much of his final years in office fighting, unsuccessfully, to clear his name, to revive his reputation, to get back what he had lost. In 2021, he ran for governor of Virginia. He finished 4th out of 5 candidates in the Democratic primary, with less than 4% of the vote. The man who had once seemed destined for national office couldn't even win his own party's nomination for state-level leadership. Court documents filed during his divorce proceedings paint a stark picture of what happened next. A Fairfax County Circuit Court judge, Timothy J. McAvoy, wrote in a legal order in March 2026, "The evidence established that father's mental and emotional health has suffered materially and substantially from the impact of at least 2 personal setbacks, citing his 2013 electoral loss and the 2019 sexual assault allegations." The judge described a man who had cloistered himself in the family home since leaving state government, withdrawn, isolated, and struggling. Court records show that by the end of his term in 2022, Justin Fairfax had come to rely on, in the judge's words, heavy daily alcohol use. In 2022, the same year he left office, court documents reveal something chilling in hindsight. Justin Fairfax purchased a handgun. The money he used for that gun had been set aside for his children's horseback riding lessons. At some point that year, he left the family home with that gun and a suitcase of clothes. We don't know where he went, but he came back, and the gun stayed in the house.
Cerina Wanzer Fairfax had spent nearly 2 decades building her life alongside Justin. She ran a family dental practice in Fairfax, Virginia. She was known in her community as warm, capable, and dedicated. Her practice website described a woman who loved to read, run trails, practice yoga, travel, and, most of all, spend time with her family. Neighbors described her as a devoted mother. In the summer of 2024, she took the first formal step away from her marriage, filing for separation. In July 2025, she filed for divorce. Cerina had also installed security cameras throughout the home, and investigators say this was because of previous alleged assaults that had been reported to police. In January 2026, Justin Fairfax called police, alleging that his wife had assaulted him. But police reviewed the security camera footage that Cerina herself had installed and determined the alleged assault never occurred. Justin's story wasn't supported by the evidence in his own home. On March 30th, 2026, just 2.5 weeks before the tragedy, a Fairfax County judge issued a custody and visitation order. Cerina was granted primary physical custody of their 2 teenage children. Justin was ordered to vacate the family home by the end of April. He was being removed from the house where he had lived for years. He was losing access to his children. His marriage was ending in the most public, documented fashion possible. And paperwork confirming all of it, including his next required court date, was served on him in the days leading up to April 16th. Police Chief Kevin Davis would later tell reporters that receiving that paperwork may have been a spark.
Fairfax was recently served some paperwork associated with an upcoming court proceeding.
The Virginia Department of Health's chief medical examiner confirmed the findings. Cerina Fairfax died from multiple gunshot wounds. Her manner of death, homicide. Justin Fairfax died from a contact gunshot wound to the head. His manner of death, suicide. Fairfax County Police Chief Kevin Davis addressed the press that morning. He called it traumatic for the children. He called it a fall from grace for a relatively high-profile family that seemingly had a lot of things going for them. Tragic for the children to lose both parents, he said. Extra tragic for them to actually be in the home when it occurred. The children were taken in by family members. Across Virginia, politicians and officials responded with statements of shock and grief. Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger called it a horrific tragedy.
"This tragedy reminds us," she said, "that domestic violence can occur in any family and in any place." Former Governor Ralph Northam, who had served alongside Justin Fairfax, said he and his wife were devastated by this heartbreaking news. United States Senators Mark Warner and Tim Kaine, both of Virginia, said they were heartbroken and still just processing what had happened. Senator Warner said simply, "You never know what's going on in any family." The death of Dr. Cerina Fairfax is a story that demands we reckon with more than one man's fall. In the United States alone, nearly 5 women are murdered every single day by a current, former, or estranged intimate partner. Intimate partner homicide is one of the leading causes of death for women of reproductive age. Black women are killed at disproportionately higher rates. Globally, according to the United Nations, 83,000 women and girls were killed intentionally in 1 year. Of those, 60%, 50,000 women, were killed by intimate partners or family members. That is 1 woman or girl killed by a partner or family member every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes. The Fairfax case holds a painful mirror to the research on intimate partner homicide. The warning signs were present. The separation was underway. The cameras had been installed. The prior police calls had been made. Research consistently shows that leaving an abusive relationship is one of the most dangerous moments for a victim. Women who leave a controlling partner are statistically 9 times more likely to be murdered. Studies show that in roughly 3 out of 5 murder-suicides involving a firearm, family court proceedings, divorce, custody, child support are somehow involved. Justin Fairfax had been ordered out of his home. He had lost custody of his children. He had a court date looming. He had a gun. He had bought that gun in 2022 with money meant for his children's riding lessons. A friend of Justin Fairfax issued a public statement after his death. She wrote that she grieved for Cerina and her children, and then she said this, plainly and without qualification: "None of that justifies murdering his wife while their children slept in the home. It is unthinkable and unimaginable." She was right. Mental health struggles are real. Addiction is real. The collapse of a public life is genuinely devastating. None of that is in dispute. But none of it, is an explanation for what happened to Cerina Fairfax in the basement of her own home.
In the days after the shooting, much of the coverage centered on Justin Fairfax, his rise, his fall, the allegations, the divorce. That is understandable in the narrow sense that he was a public figure. But Cerina Wanzer Fairfax deserves to be remembered as a person, not a footnote. She was 49 years old. She had graduated from Duke University, where she and Justin met, and then from Virginia Commonwealth University's School of Dentistry, where she was later recognized as an outstanding graduate. She ran a family dental practice in Fairfax that her community loved. She loved to run trails. She practiced yoga. She was an avid reader. She traveled whenever she could. Her practice bio said simply that she loved spending time with her wonderful family. She had cameras installed in her home because she was afraid. She went to court because she wanted a different life. She was in the process of trying to protect herself and her children. She should be alive. Her name was Dr. Cerina Wanzer Fairfax. She was a daughter, a dentist, a mother of 2, a member of her community, and she deserved so much more than the end she was given.
The judge overseeing his divorce had described him as a talented man who had lost his way. That is both true and deeply insufficient, because at the end of the story, a woman is dead, 2 children are without parents, and a community is left to wrestle with how something this catastrophic could unfold so quietly in a house on a tree-lined street while the rest of the neighborhood slept.